All right, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about transformations. And first, I want to start off by talking about the parameters A, H, and K and what they do. So A has a couple different jobs. It can stretch or compress a graph vertically. And it also can affect the reflection. So it can also reflect over the x-axis. Okay, to get more specific, it's going to be a stretch if A is a number that is bigger than 1. So 2, -5, anything that's bigger than 1, the positive of it, so the absolute value. And then it's going to be a compression if it's a fraction or decimal between 0 and 1. And then it's going to reflect if A equals -1. Then we have the H parameter. So this is your left and right movement. All right, so it can shift your whole function to the left or your whole function to the right. So if no matter what function you're working with, if it's x minus h, this is going to be a shift to the right. And if it's x plus h, it's going to be a shift to the left. And then finally, the parameter k. So this function is in charge of your vertical movement, so up and down. And then k actually does what you think it would do. So if you see a positive k value, your function is shifting up. If you see a negative k value, your function is shifting down. And then the last thing that we talked about is a locator point. And for all of these, your locator point is hk. So for parabolas, we called it the vertex, but not every function that we're going to work with has a vertex. So it's that special locator point that we talked about for our 6 functions. So what I want to do is just look at a couple examples here. And all I'm going to do is give the equation, and then we're going to state what the transformation was that took place. So looking at this, I see that it's a quadratic, and it could be any function, but this one is a quadratic because it's a degree 2. So right now I'm seeing an a value of 2, and then I see this h value of 3. So if a is 2, that means that it was a vertical stretch, and then x minus 3, so an h value of 3 means that this shifted right 3. So those would be the 2 transformations that took place. If we're talking the locator point would be 3, 0. So it was 0, 0, now it's 3, 0. Next one is an absolute value function. So again, I have a, h, and k. A is negative, so if a is negative, this is going to be a reflection over the x-axis. So in some of these functions, we talk about it opening down. So in this case, it would be an absolute value function. And instead of opening up like the parent graph, it's going to open down. It's x plus 4. So if I look back at this sheet, if it's x plus 4, that's actually a movement to the left, which means my h value is negative. So this is shifting left 4 units. And then the k value is minus 5. And remember, the k value does what you think it would. So it is shifting down 5 units. So again, if we're talking the locator point, instead of 0, 0 like the parent function, this locator point would be -4, -5. Next example is a square root function. So I don't have an h, so there's nothing like x minus 2 or x plus 2. So h is actually 0, so there wasn't a horizontal shift left or right. And then I have my k value. So an a value of 1/2 means that it was a vertical compression. And then the k value being -7 means that this moved down 7 units. So if normally our locator point is at 0, 0, but this shifted down 7, my locator point would now be 0, -7. And then last one is another quadratic. So I have an a value. Again, I don't have an h value because you don't see like x plus 3 squared. It's just x squared, so h must be 0. And then I have my k value. So this was a reflection over the x-axis. and then the +4 shifted it up 4 units. So again, this would be opening down because of the negative, so it would be a parabola opening down, and then it's been shifted up 4. So instead of the locator point being 0, 0, the locator point is now 0, 4. So hopefully that video helps you. Again, I think it's very helpful to look at your equation and label what you have, so be it A, H, or K, and then from there talk about what the transformations were that took place.